I think having all of this under the broad umbrella of the Chamber is important. The Raleigh Chamber is the voice of business in the region. So really having the strength and the power of our business community behind us is imperative.
Raleigh and Wake County continue to make headlines, landing on national best of lists for business climate, talent, and quality of life. But behind every ranking and success story is a team working every single day to attract new opportunities to help the region thrive. On this episode of In Good Company, I've got Michael Haley, Executive Director, Wake County Economic Development, Senior Vice President of the Greater Raleigh Chamber, and Kyle Touchstone, Director of Raleigh Economic Development. And they're going to tell us how we really get into economic development powers in the region's growth. We'll talk about the partnerships that make it happen, what sets Raleigh apart on the national stage, and why the future here is brighter than ever. So, gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Amazing, amazing. All right, I've got to set the stage. So we're going to have a little icebreaker here. I'm going to go to Michael, and then Kyle will hit you up next. But for listeners who might not know, can you give me a quick overview of what Wake County Economic Development and Raleigh Economic Development do, and how your teams kind of fit into the Greater Raleigh Chamber?
Well, it's a great question. Both of our organizations, we're programs of the Greater Raleigh Chamber. So the Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce is truly the leader of economic development here in the region. And so Wake County Economic Development, we lead economic development efforts across all of Wake County in partnership with all of our municipalities, Raleigh and the other 11 municipalities here in Wake County. We lead what people think traditionally of economic development, the big projects that are looking in the area, but we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes too around talent recruitment, talent pipeline development, marketing. We have national marketing campaigns and talent recruitment campaigns. We're also focused every day on things like infrastructure and transit and transportation. So there's a wide, broad definition of economic development that we have at the Chamber when it comes to economic development.
Oh my gosh, well, hold on. 11 municipalities. Can you name them all? Pop quiz. Just
I
kidding.
can. I go around the county in clockwork order.
We don't have to do that. But Kyle, same question for you. How does your team really fit into the Greater Raleigh Chamber?
Well, I'll tell you this, Erica. I love saying that we provide this very cohesive and collaborative economic development effort, on all projects. And it's by all of us being there together, working together at the Raleigh Chamber. Raleigh Economic Development, much like Wake County Economic Development, serves as the City of Raleigh's economic development program focused on recruitment, retention, and marketing to those businesses. Wake County Economic Development, I'm gonna toot their horn a little bit. They are really the powerhouse that really support all of us, municipalities throughout the county.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Okay. So the Chamber, Wake County Economic Development, and then do you guys ever abbreviate it RED for Raleigh Economic Development?
I do, and I struggle with that because my branded colors are not red. But, hey, we're red.
Oh gosh, what are we going to do about that? Okay, but they are all connected under this one umbrella. Mm-hmm. How does that collaboration help strengthen our region's approach to growth and business attraction?
I think having all of this under the broad umbrella of the Chamber is important. The Raleigh Chamber is the voice of business in the region. So really having the strength and the power of our business community behind us is imperative. When Kyle and I go out and we're talking with companies, it's just really important for us to say, this is the business community. We're representing our business community. This community cares about growth. It cares about new opportunity. It cares about jobs. They're the ones supporting our work, along with our public partners at the city and the county. And so it gives us a way to really talk about and communicate with other companies. This is the kind of place you want to be, where your peers are so passionate about economic development and growth that they ask us and support our work and ask us to be out here doing this every day.
Awesome. Kyle, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just to add onto that, when we are working with these companies, having this great membership base that is, the Raleigh Chamber, really is supportive in telling that story that Michael's talking about, the support that this community provides to existing business, but also the new businesses.
I imagine that your typical days aren't exactly the same. And so, Kyle, I'd love to hear from you first. What does a typical day look like for your teams? And are there parts of your work that might actually surprise people?
Yeah. Every day is different. But I'll tell you what is great is our team is so collaborative that every morning we check in with each other. Everyone knows where each other, what meetings are happening and where we'll be throughout the day. And no day is alike. Yesterday was completely different from today. But as our CEO, Adrian Cole, loves to say, we work on everything from potholes to headquarters. And it is very true. Every day we are focused on recruitment of new jobs to our community. But that also means we're focused on the companies that are here and the companies that are trying to locate here. So when a company makes the decision to be in Raleigh or Wake County, that's really when our work begins, because we become focused on a smooth, seamless transition for those companies, making sure that permitting is running smoothly with the city of Raleigh, making sure that they are connected with the different workforce training partners and they are tapping into the talent resources. And then just being the connector and convener with different entities and other like-minded businesses or business leaders throughout the community to make sure that they can be successful here. So that is really the focus every day of trying to move things forward for our community. And, but also, there are those days where we get the phone call saying, hey, we got a pothole in front of our business. Is there anything that you can help us with there? And thankfully, because we're at the Raleigh Chamber and we have all of these great resources, we can usually pick up the phone and say, hey, one of our companies has this issue. So,
well, I love both of those examples because, as someone who hasn't been as involved in the Greater Raleigh Chamber, I might not understand what that really does for me as a business owner or as someone that might drive my kid to school and then I have to drive down that private road that's got 16 potholes. Now I know who to call. But exactly. I love that, and it's fascinating too because everyone out there who's looking for a job, like when you're thinking about bringing in new companies and what they're going to do here, like that impacts all of us. But Michael, same question for you. What's a typical day in the life?
Again, every day is different, which is one of the best parts of being in economic development. You have an ability to really have an impact on your community in a lot of different ways. And like what Kyle was saying, I think the superpower of the Raleigh Chamber is this ability to connect and to convene. And so for us, we spend every day, no matter what it looks like, really connecting with our partners, our business leaders, community members, because we know we're going to have to be able to utilize those connections and convene those people to solve problems. And it really is truly every day is different in the life of an economic developer. You can have the best laid plans are often blown up in the middle of the day because of a call you might get. And that's part of the fun of this. Or
maybe you're sitting in a suit having a podcast session.
That's right.
True.
That's very true.
I love it. Yeah. All right, Michael, when you think about economic development, what does success really look like besides the job announcements and the numbers?
Yeah, look, it's like anything else, economic development, you can get really in the weeds on like KPIs and jobs and announcements and capital investment and all those things that you typically measure economic development success in, like any other business. I think for me, what success really looks like in economic development is really about the opportunity that economic development provides our community. Like anything else, this job is hard. And that ability to see a higher order calling of what we do every day in the grind leads to ultimately the ability for someone to get a new job, provide for their family, make a step on that economic mobility rung, that ladder. That's impactful for me. That's what I think. When I think about what success looks like, it looks like those things. It's the human story of opportunity and economic mobility that really drives me personally, and it drives, I think, what we do as a team.
Yeah, I love that. So, Kyle, I know when I was looking at moving here, I came here from Florida probably like 15 years ago, and I had a job opportunity, and they said you can pick 3 places to live, and this was one of them. So I did all the research, and I was like, man, they've got all these like best ofs. I mean, one of them was also best for single people, but I was down for it.
Look at you now.
Right? I'm married, I got kids. But Raleigh and Wake County continue to earn all of these recognition, for business climate, talent, quality of life. I don't know if the single scene is still popping, but let's hope it is. But what do you think makes this region stand out to companies that are considering moving here?
Yeah, so ironically, 10 years ago, I moved here from Florida.
No way. What part?
Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay. We'll talk later. Go Gators.
So I moved to Chatham County. I moved, here in the region, not necessarily Raleigh, but led economic development efforts in Chatham County for a few years. And, we were just named the #1 best performing city by Milken Institute this year. It's been a slow climb to the #1 ranking, but that ranking really tells a great story for us. It touches on high-tech employment growth, high-tech wage growth, construction growth.
Yeah.
But then the really special part are some of those softer things that are really important to us. The quality of life aspects, the parks, the greenways, the outdoor spaces. And surprising to many, we ranked really high this year in affordability. When compared with other metros across the United States, we are still relatively affordable. And, when we are competing with places like Dallas, New York, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, which that's who we're competing with. We're not competing with other 500,000 population cities. We are punching above our weight class, as we always have. And we are the better choice when it comes to those locations, especially for a place to live. I will preach that every day and invite anyone to come and visit us to check this out, especially during the pandemic when people were looking for a shift in quality of life. We really became a top market for those relocations. Here you can have the 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. You can have the amenities that are the room to breathe and grow.
Yes, a yard.
Absolutely. And, so many people were sitting in apartments in these larger cities and, feeling stuck and trapped. And we became this great option. And it really is a testament to the long work that this region has done in developing a very significant tech cluster, life sciences, clean tech, and, our headquarters clusters.
I'm always amazed by the number of incredible companies that are here, but then also the small town family feel that you can get in a lot of, the suburbs of Raleigh.
Absolutely.
So it's incredible.
Well, here, real quick, it's interesting is like your personal story is one that's repeated so often. Hey, I moved here for this reason. And then you have found great success in all your entrepreneurial energy that you've put into place here locally, and it's still this great place that you've grown through your life. And that's the best part about this community is that you can really find a space for yourself and then grow, and the community is still offering that opportunity that you originally came for, and it changes as your life changes, and that's really important. And that's a good story that you have about it.
It truly has phased with me at every phase of my life, and I tell people at this point, like, my parents are here, my in-laws are here, I joke we're stuck here, but we also don't have any reason to go anywhere else. We've got easy airport access, great opportunities for our careers. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah. So,
and that's a common story that we hear of the families following along.
Yeah. Because when you find a good thing, you just bring them right on.
Bring everybody on.
That's right. But Michael, with great growth comes great opportunities and great challenges.
Yes.
How are your teams thinking about sustainable, inclusive growth across the region?
It's interesting, and that is part of it. Like, we've talked a lot about all the positive attributes of growth. New people, new neighbors, new companies, growing companies, all those things are great. I think of it this way. That's one side of the coin of this story in this community. The other side is what you're mentioning is like, are the challenges that we face. And these are real challenges when it comes to things like growth, affordability, housing, pressure on infrastructure. All those things are very hard challenges. They're built off a positive growth story, which is good. So they're good problems, if you'd like to call it that. But really thinking about long term, how do you solve those? And so for us, our number one sort of point is we're never going to be complacent. Complacency is really the most important challenge you can face in a fast growing community, of people saying, well, why are we working so hard, Erica? We're doing great. Everything seems great. Let's slow down a little bit, or why are we having to grind so much? And for us, we're really never thinking about that. So we're thinking long term about how do we ensure that we remain affordable, have the right housing stock, have the right housing choices. Some of the things that Kyle mentioned about the ability to say, hey, I want to live in an urban environment or on a farm, and I can do that in one community.
Yeah. And what's so cool too is like this is personal for everyone here, right? Because we all want to live in an affordable area with great places.
So you have to be very forward thinking. We mentioned this earlier. This is one of the things about being within the chamber that makes our work, and it's so complementary of the work that we do at the chamber through things like RTA, our Regional Transportation Alliance. Every day, that organization is focused on transit and transportation infrastructure. So we know that somebody's waking up every day thinking about how do we move people and goods faster and more efficiently across our region. Great. We're thinking about government affairs and public policy every day at the chamber. Great. Those are really important. So for us, it's being very forward thinking, understanding also that with all the positive attributes and the rankings and the growth, knowing that those breed challenges. And so we have to be mindful of that.
Good. I'm going to lob this one up. Y'all got to fight for it. Whoever has the best story wins. But at its core, economic development is really about people. And can one of you maybe share a recent project or a story that really captures the community impact of the work?
It's a great question.
Who's got the best answer?
They're all impactful. That's the critical piece. They're all impactful.
Then give me a fan fave.
So probably a fan fave for me is, let's just take Build Ops. That's the most recent announcement in the city of Raleigh. I'll let Michael talk about some of the great ones in Wake County. But Build Ops, they are taking a second, third generation office space in downtown Raleigh. They're creating 291 software tech jobs. And we competed with one of our number one competitors, Austin, Texas, and we were selected as their East Coast hub. And the energy that this company is bringing into downtown Raleigh with this new office announcement, and the partnerships that they're creating, they're supporting the construction industry. They're very, very veteran focused, and really weaving into the community in a significant way. It's the type of company that we want to be here, the type of company that really takes advantage of all of the resources that we offer. We've been sitting here and haven't talked about North Carolina State University or Wake Tech Community College, which are two of our greatest partners and resources in creating and providing that talent pipeline that is so critical to our success, and making sure that we have those jobs for fresh out of college, 5 years down the road, or you're towards the end of your career and looking for something else. Making sure that those opportunities exist and in a fun and lively environment, which is what Build Ops is doing. When we announced that project at the end of June, they've already had their grand opening. They're up and running at the Creamery on Glenwood Avenue. And it is just electric. It is electric seeing just the number of people, just how excited they are to be here. And that continues. And seeing that type of energy and being able to share that story just helps in amplifying the Raleigh story overall.
Yeah, it's such a vibe down there. I love it.
Yeah. One of the things we've taught goes back to your question about the metrics and how you measure success. And, you can get into, there was this many jobs, this much capital investment, and that sounds great. And then you sort of forget about what these companies do. And so we've heard, we've had a lot of life science announcements and biotech announcements in our community. Amgen, Fujifilm, Genentech, Biogen just celebrated their 30th anniversary here. And you think about what companies like that do for patients and people, the treatments they develop, therapeutics, the medicines. And then it creates this sense of like what real success looks like. It's to say, it's great. They're investing huge amounts of money, hiring thousands and thousands of people. But if you stop there, you miss the story. The real story is how they're impacting people's lives every day. And you hear those stories when you talk to the companies. And it really is inspiring, not only for the work that they do, but for us as economic developers to know those things are happening in our community. Yeah. And that's the human story we were talking about earlier. It's really neat.
It's super cool to know it's happening in your backyard. Oh my gosh. All right, Michael, if I'm thinking ahead, what are some of those trends or top priorities that are top of your mind as we come into 2026? And how do you see the Chamber's work really helping you move those forward?
Yeah, I think we've mentioned a lot of them today. We've talked about talent. That's the true differentiator of this community. It's talent. It's the people that are here. So thinking through how are we ensuring that we're in our national talent recruitment campaign that we lead, really telling the story of this community. But like Kyle mentioned, working with NC State University, Wake Tech, and all of our colleges and universities here in the region, ensuring that we're aligning the curriculum, the research, the innovation that occurs at our universities with our business community's needs. Obviously, it's always going to be a top priority, talent pipeline for us. 2, I think for us is, look, at the heart of a lot of economic development is very traditional things like you have to have sites. And we like to say a lot, you can't sell from an empty wagon. And so we work with our municipalities to ensure they have sites ready for economic development. We're prepared for those opportunities as they come. Now, that sounds really mundane, but that is at its core a lot of what economic development is about, which is preparing your community for growth and opportunity. Those 2 things really sit top of mind for me when it comes to what 2026 our priorities are as a economic development organization. Really focus on those things.
Kyle, any thoughts?
Well, tacking on to what Michael said, if you look at those mixed-use developments that have been built here in Raleigh and the successes that they've seen with recruiting new companies, North Hills, we basically filled one of their buildings with new office projects. That we've got to have the sites. We've got to have the buildings. And we are very fortunate in Raleigh that we have all of these private developments creating those opportunities for us. We are very, very excited about the new construction projects that are coming online in 2026. That is the Red Hat Amphitheater, the Convention Center, the Omni Hotel, the Lenovo Center upgrades, and ultimately this new Raleigh Sports and Entertainment District. Those are creating such an energy and buzz for Raleigh and really moving us to that next phase of being the fun, rapidly growing city that we, aspire to be.
I love it. I keep thinking like we're there, and then y'all come back with something more. And you're like, hold on there. We're going to do one more thing.
It's that complacency. We are never complacent, and we are that's another great thing about us working together. We're always pushing each other to do more, be better. Hey, can we look at it this way? And it's a really great partnership.
I love that. Amazing. Michael, for members or residents who want to get more involved or better understand your work, where do they go? What do they do?
Hey, I'd love to invite people to go to our website, raleigh-wake.org, learn more about the community. We've got great stats for people that want that, awesome blogs about that really encapsulate all that we do and then learn more about it. We'd love for people to invite them to join the chamber, come to an event, call us, see what it's all about, see the energy at a Raleigh Chamber event when you have hundreds of business leaders and peers there that share the same passion for making this place better every day. We'd love to have people come. I think it's so exciting to see the work being done in that way. It's important for us.
Oh my gosh, incredible. Okay, and then Kyle, I want to start with you. When you think about the future of Raleigh and everything that's going on, what are you most excited about? What are you most optimistic about? Just what lights you up?
Yeah, so I think some of those projects that I was talking about, those are really, really exciting. Really seeing where we take things. Bus rapid transit will be coming online, and that will be a great transit tool for us. The city is very, very focused on affordability and housing. And so I'm excited to see the tools that the city starts to work with that are in that toolbox. Mayor Cowell talks about utilizing all of those tools so that we can create those affordable housing options, but then also, continuing to elevate the great things that already exist here. Whether it's our parks, our greenways, the great companies that are here, the Carolina Hurricanes, the NC Courage, those teams, and then our college teams, that really have set the tone for sports and really, set a pretty high bar. Those things really do get us a lot of attention. A couple of years ago when NC State, both the men and women's basketball teams were in the Final Four, it really put Raleigh on the map. And so we're always looking for those unique opportunities to help amplify our city, our region, and help us tell the story in a better way.
Mm-hmm. Incredible.
I'd say this. I think of us as a community of what's next. And so you mentioned before, and I love that you said this idea of like, all this great stuff's happening, and something else is happening, and something else is happening. What the best aspect about Raleigh and Wake County and the Triangle region is, like, our story's still being written. We still have so much headroom in terms of who we are going to be, who we want to be, which is great. I think as important as that is, as a community, though, we can really shape that future together. And that's exciting to me. That's what is really exciting to me personally, is the next part of our growth, the next sort of version of ourselves is being written by us. Mm-hmm. And there's still a lot of exciting things to happen, that some of which we haven't even talked about yet, because some of it we don't even know yet that's going to happen 5, 10, 20 years from now. And that really is exciting about this community, because we know that something's really cool is in the works.
I love it. I mean, I've been here 15 something years, and the changes that I've already seen and what we're talking about today, it's just incredible. So I'm super excited to see all of those projects come to life. I can't wait to go experience them. But Michael, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us on In Good Company with the Greater Raleigh Chamber. It was such a joy to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mimi Miller, and I'm the Membership Engagement Manager at the Greater Raleigh Chamber. And I want to thank you and welcome you to Mimi's Member Moment, our chance to spotlight the stories of our chamber members. On this episode, we welcome David Meeker, a fixture in Raleigh. He is the founder of Carpenter Development and a partner at Trophy Brewing and Elm Partners. Welcome, David.
Yeah, thanks.
David, you're involved in so many ventures that have been that have shaped Raleigh's growth, from Trophy Brewing, like I said, to Elm Partners, which is a commercial brokerage, and Carpenter Development. So what first inspired you to become such an active part in building up our local business community?
Yeah, thanks. So it's organic, just like most business stories. We started with one project, and it was a real estate development, and we were having trouble leasing it. And two of my partners wanted to do a beer bar, so we partnered up, sort of thinking it was going to be a year partnership. And then it's just grown from there. And so we had the real estate development company. We had Trophy sort of growing. And then along the way, we found there was a need for a commercial brokerage to help our friends in the food and bev space. And it's really grown with Raleigh. You know, we're lucky to be in Raleigh, where people are moving to. It's really insulated us from some of our mistakes. And so we've been lucky to be here, but yeah, we've had some success and also had some failures, and luckily people don't remember the failures. Nobody ever brings them up and things like this, which is nice.
Right. And I'm always saying, failures, successes, both are learning opportunities. So is there any one lesson that really stuck to you that helped you further your businesses?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think, we sort of were always on the cutting edge in terms of new areas of town. Yeah. And we'd had a couple of successes with that, where we go to a new area. So maybe the third time we got overconfident and sort of went to a new area, opened a trophy tap room, and it's not been as busy, and it's, we really have to work and grind to get people there, and it's sort of a lesson. Hey, we're not, we don't have the special sauce, or we don't have the vision that nobody else does, and a lot of it's luck, So anyway.
Absolutely. You've seen Raleigh evolve over the years. What do you think makes this city such fertile ground for entrepreneurs and small business owners?
Yeah, so I do think it's, Raleigh is very supportive of small businesses. In my space, the food and bev space, people aren't as excited about going to chains. That's very, very much a suburban thing or rural thing. And so in Raleigh, people want to go to the independent places, which is great for the small businesses. So there's that community. And then I do think having all the schools here makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Kids coming out of school, young people being downtown, wanting to be to go to cool things. It certainly helps those of us in that world.
Yeah, have the cool ideas and make the cool things happen.
Exactly.
Absolutely. How do collaboration and community play into your approach for business?
Yeah, so we've always tried to collaborate and partner with folks.
Yeah.
I think short term that can be hard. Sometimes short term it's better to be competitive and mean. And you might win short term, but
Right.
Longer term, if you collaborate and partner with people, it's better for your business. So we've taken that approach, and we have partners in almost every deal we do. I have partners in my businesses, and getting to share the success with people is fun, but also when things aren't going as well, getting to share the risk,
Right.
or getting to share the workload has been really helpful. And then in the community, like when you're collaborating with people, in good times it's exciting, but in bad times you're there for each other. And so COVID's a good example.
Yeah.
The food and bev community in Raleigh really stuck together. We sort of all went through it together. A lot of us made it, some of us didn't. But it was easier knowing there were a lot of other people going through the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, business, life, relationships are the key.
Yeah.
And having that type of community to support you through the good and the tough feels like it's so important. I would love to know, has your involvement with the Greater Raleigh Chamber kind of helped you create those relationships at all, or what else with the Chamber has been impactful for you?
Yeah, so to me, the Chamber, we're so lucky in Raleigh to have our Chamber. I've seen other chambers, and most chambers are all about business, and that's important, and that's an important role for the chamber. But I feel like our chamber works on making us a better place to live, a better community. Our chamber works on transportation issues, school bonds, greenways, so much parks, so much more than just business. And that makes Raleigh a wonderful place to move to.
Yeah.
So then all these companies sort of want to be here too. And so it works for business too. And so all our businesses are sort of based on Raleigh being a great place to be, and then more people coming out to enjoy it, food and beverage wise. And so the chamber has been such a big part. And then more specifically, we do have a brokerage, and through the chamber, we've gotten connected with a lot of businesses who are looking to buy, sell, or lease space. And so we've gotten clients through that. But that's not why we've joined. We joined because we wanted to be supportive of the chamber, making Raleigh a great place to be.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's not that you sign up for the membership and then people are like, oh, they're part of the chamber, let's do business with them. Like, you have to put an effort to make those connections work. Is that right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And just like anything, you get out what you put into it.
Absolutely.
But it's not a ton of effort.
Yeah.
Most of it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I put on some of the events, so I'm glad to know that they're fun.
Most of it's fun. And I mean, that's how you get most of it. But I will say, like, chamber people do support chamber people.
Right.
And so if you do sign up and you go to some events, it's not impossible. So we've been really fortunate, and but at the end of the day, we're members because we want to support the chamber and the leadership at the chamber for making Raleigh a great place to live.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And, I joined the chamber staff only a year ago. And before then, I had no idea just how much the chamber does. So I love that you mentioned that it's not just, business to business connections. It's about the schools. It's about the transportation. It's about the community. How have you seen the community kind of come behind you, not just the chamber community, but the Raleigh community in general?
Yeah, I mean, the community's been so supportive of our stuff. I'm a big believer in Raleigh becoming a bigger city, a walkable place, and all of our businesses sort of, will grow as that starts to happen. And so the community's always showed up for us, whether at a new trophy location or even, our big events. We put on a couple big 5Ks a year and the community always shows up. So Raleigh's there for you if you put the effort in.
What excites you most about what's next for Raleigh's business landscape?
Yeah, I'm most excited for what's happening downtown.
Yeah.
It feels like we've been through a lot the last 3 or 4 years, and now we've got some real momentum. The Omni's going to start construction.
Yeah.
We're working on this connection from downtown to Dix Park, and then there's a lot of energy around Moore Square and having some more playground equipment, or including some playground equipment there. So I'm excited about what's going on downtown. I'm a downtown person, so I'm biased. Yeah. But there's energy there like we haven't had since pre-COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that our chamber office is downtown because I can, walk Fayetteville Street and get something new for lunch every day, things like that. So I'm definitely a downtown fan as well.
Yeah, awesome.
I would love for you to tell our listeners about a special offer you have going on for our podcast listeners. What's going on there?
Yeah, so we've started a special on Monday nights at Trophy Brewing, and this is all the locations, where we do a $4 Morts. Morts is our easy drinking lager. It's most similar to the big beers, It's our version of that. It still tastes better than that.
I love it.
But it's a big mug of Morts, and every Monday it's a cheap way to enjoy a trophy.
Absolutely.
Beer.
It sounds like it's like a Oktoberfest, but every Monday, like having that big jug and having a good time.
That's right.
That's wonderful. So head out to Trophies on Mondays, especially to experience that. David, thank you so much for joining us and for everything that you do to make Raleigh and our region such a vibrant place to live and to do business. That wraps up this episode of Mimi's Member Moment. Stay tuned for more stories from our chamber members who are shaping our region one idea at a time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company with the Greater Raleigh Chamber. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with your network. Keep tuning in for more insights on the Chamber's programs, events, and members, and visit raleighchamber.org for info and to register for the Chamber's upcoming events.